Indigenous Rights Radio, because knowledge is power.
Remember your children, remember our future, remember your children, remember Mother Nature.
Indigenous communities have a rich food biodiversity that is attracting growing interests from those looking to connect with wild foods, creating a desire to protect it. This interest is deeply intertwined with cultural and spiritual connections to the land and food. However, these traditions face two major threats: a changing political landscapes that can lead to cuts in funding for food initiatives, and climate change. While Indigenous policymakers and community members understand the deeper spiritual and cultural significance of food, it is a challenge to convey this importance to non-native people and to the capitalist system. Andi Murphy, a Diné journalist who hosts the radio show Native America Calling, covers Indigenous food cultures. Cultural Survival spoke with her about the importance of Indigenous food culture and the challenges it faces. Murphy encouraged Indigenous reporters to become obsessed with the topic like food, explaining that sustained reporting leads to more informed and unique stories.
Remember.
My name is Andi Murphy. I am a journalist. I'm a producer for Native America Calling, and I am the host and creator of the Toasted Sister podcast. I'm Diné. Native people today are exposed to a lot of biodiversity, especially in food, and how people are, I think, more interested in food. I've been covering Indigenous food for maybe the last 10 years or so, and there are a lot of initiatives out there to protect food sources, protect food, and to also learn a lot more about, what foods are out there. There's a lot of people who are interested in wild foods, and when you're interested in something, you want to protect it. So there's that sort of intermingling between your hunger for food and then your hunger for your culture and then your land and your food. So it all kind of comes together. I think it can be overwhelming for some people, especially people who, care about things so much. They feel like you come across one thing and it's a big issue. It leads you to another thing. It's a whole other issue. Just, a lot of stuff to do. But we just had an episode yesterday where, and it was a conversation about casinos. But what our guest said on our show, Native America Calling, was that, now we have a lot of people who are, who have been educated in that Western way and who have been walking in two worlds, is what we always say, for a long time. And now we're a couple of generations of people who have these knowledges from both sides, from the cultural side, from maybe a spiritual side, and also from like the Western academic, government side. So I think there's a lot of people out there who have the capacity to care about food and do something about food. You see people who are working in cultural food revitalization, who are working with language, who are working with science and biology and forest management, even in politics. All of their work, sort of focuses around food. And I think the challenges now, are current politics and how things have changed, a whole bunch from one administration to another. All of this work they're doing takes a lot of time, and to have resources allocated, taken away, cut back, canceled, depending on who's at the head of the office, I think is a challenge. And of course, the big thing, I think, is climate change. It's hard to convince especially non-native people about the importance of food and our spiritual, cultural connection to it. I think even some spaces of journalism, there's people who will just kind of say that's not a story. Where's the evidence? Is there research on this? Who's the doctor of, native spirituality and food? Who's the expert in that Western academic sense? That's a hard uphill battle to fight there, especially when you're talking to and trying to deal with non-native people in the capitalist system we live in. But for Indigenous people, for those Indigenous policymakers and politics, I think they get it, they understand it, and you see them maybe coming on a Native publication or a Native radio show talking about how they see the importance of it. They know from their community that there's a spiritual connection and culture surrounded to food, which is connected to the land, which is connected to all these resources around us, and that's why we should protect it. But for them, their job is to turn it around into something that non-native policymakers can understand. If I were to have a message for Indigenous reporters, it is to become obsessed with the topic. For myself, I've become obsessed with food, and there are a couple of other topics in Native America that I really love to report about. And when we have beat reporters, who are doing this work, that means they've probably spent a couple of years reporting on the different ebbs and flow of this topic. For me, it's reporting on this whole Native food movement. And, I've gotten to witness chefs and people who are working in food sovereignty start 10 years ago. And now they're really making moves and making waves. But, at the same time, I understand the different challenges that are popping up all over the place in different aspects of the community. So if you care about a topic and you're obsessed with it, it really makes you a better reporter because you're spending time, you are connecting with people and just constantly watching what they're doing. And I think that brings out better stories, more informed stories, and very unique stories that other people might not catch up on because they haven't been doing that work as long as you have.
Remember your children.
For more information on the rights of Indigenous peoples, visit cs.org and follow Cultural Survival on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, Threads, and Blue Sky.
Your children remember our future. Remember your children. Remember Mother Nature.